Fabulous. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Everyone can see the PowerPoint. Thumbs up. I see thumbs up. Awesome. Alrighty. So to dive into what this program is, Olympic Connect is proud to offer the Employment Support Program, which removes barriers to gainful employment by providing the necessary resources a client may need to obtain a good job. These resources include tuition for short-term training programs, transportation assistance, childcare assistance, and basic needs. To qualify for this program, the folks who are eligible, they will need to be an Olympic Connect client who currently is in the ages of 25 to 54. They live or actively seeking a good job in Clallam and Jefferson County and are currently or underemployed, which work that means they're making less than $26 an hour and or not working full-time and receiving employer benefits. Our goal is to support clients to obtain a living wage job, whether a new job or through promotion to a better job. It is an honor to serve Olympic Connect clients and support them towards achieving their employment goals. And I'm super excited that we are having some resources that are going to be available to them to achieve those goals. Under the Employment Support Program, 4 new services, like I mentioned, will be launched in the coming months. So some of those, like I mentioned, the transportation support will be assistance with van pools and ride shares, and that'll be offered in partnership with the Clallam and Jefferson County Transit. There will be a child care support program, and that'll help cover the cost of child care, and this will be in partnership with Olympic Peninsula YMCA. There will be a basic needs support program, which is assistance with essentials such as car repairs, gas vouchers, hygiene items, laundry, and clothing. And this will also be in partnership with the Peninsula YMCA. And then we have the short-term training program. This is financial support to pay for short-term training programs to obtain new skills or upskill in alignment with employment goals. And this will be administered through OCH. So I mentioned the 4 programs today. We're solely focusing on the one that OCH is administering because this one rolls out first. We will offer additional trainings like today, but for this session, like I mentioned, we're just focusing on the tuition short-term training program. So for the tuition short-term training program, if your employment goals include developing new or improved skills to obtain a living wage, and like I mentioned, that living wage is earning $26 an hour full-time plus receiving employer benefits, the client may be able to access funds that directly pay for tuition or fees to eligible training programs. So examples of types of trainings that could be included in this program could be bookkeeping, wastewater treatment, commercial driver's license, automotive and welding programs, certified nursing assistant certificate. This could qualify for GED or high school plus, industry certification, job readiness training, and more. I want to be clear that this program cannot be used. The funds from this program cannot be used for programs otherwise covered by other financial assistance, such as like Pell Grants, FAFSA, and routine CEUs. Key points that I wanted to point out. This is available to established Olympic Connect clients, so current or future, who meet program eligibility. Applications will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. And it's something I really want you to take away is this needs to be client-led. The client, with your support, must be the one to identify the best training program that meets their unique employment goals. So in just a moment, I'm going to show you what this looks like in C2C, but I want to pause to see if there's any questions so far on what this program is. See a hand raise.
So these are primarily for short-term programs. The types of training, is there any sort of vetting to ensure that the training that they're pursuing would result in a job that receives a living wage?
Can you say your question one more time? Sorry. I just want to make
Is
sure I heard it.
the training programs that are available or that we would cover, is there any sort of vetting or requirement that that career path would actually lead to a living wage position? Like, because there's some positions that are routinely, the starting employment bracket is would be lower than the expected living wage.
Miranda, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. Um, yes. So Yvonne is going to walk you through the application and you'll see that there is a question related to how does this training program fulfill your employment goal about getting a living wage job. So if somebody's goal is to get a job that only makes $20 an hour or is only part-time and there's good reasons why somebody might have those kinds of goals, that's fine, but this would not be the appropriate service for that type of training program. It's specifically from a funder perspective, we have to be able to demonstrate that people are getting connected to living wage jobs as a result of tapping into these services.
Any other questions before I get into our live demo? All right, I'm just seeing stares. I like it. Um, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up Connect to Coordinator because I think this is the best if I can show you in real time what this looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen again. Alrighty, thumbs up if you can see C2C. Fabulous. Thank you for your help with that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna do a live demo. There's no need to like follow in C2C on your own because this is being recorded, so you'll be able to take a step back if you need to and like review this if you need. There's also, I'm going to show you where it'll be stored, but in C2C, there's also instructions on how this will go. So you'll have a live video to follow and you'll have instructions in C2C. So just wanted to give you some comfort that this won't be the only time you'll have access to learning this new process. So to apply for the tuition short-term training program, you're going to want to complete this is the first step. You're going to want to make sure that you have the PEG assessment completed on the client's profile. So this stands for the Prime Age Employment Group Assessment. Currently in your workflow, you'll get two tasks. You'll be asked to complete the HRSN assessment, and then it'll ask you to complete the Prime Age assessment. Some folks may not be eligible at the time, but you can always go back and create an assessment. So it's just really important to have this. So you'll know that the assessment is completed if you go to assessments in the person's profile, and you'll see where did it go? You'll see in this drop down that there is a PEG assessment. If you need to create a new one, you can always go to Add Assessment. And then you'll want to select the OCH Prime Age Employment Group. You'll do the entity similar, like if it'll be client, and then how you are speaking to the client, you'll select, we'll do phone for today. But you'll want to go ahead and go through this assessment so that that identifier can be on that person's profile.
Yvonne, could I jump in just and share a little
Sure.
bit about why for the Prime Age Employment Group assessment was added, and the employment support program is funded all through what is referred to as the Recompete grant. And some of you might be more familiar than others with what that is. The Recompete grant was awarded to Clallam and Jefferson counties. We are like one of 9 communities across the nation that were selected as to be awarded these grants under the Economic Development Authority or the EDA at a federal level. So it's a really exciting opportunity for our communities out here on the peninsula. Um, Olympic Connect is one component of that comprehensive recompete work that's happening across those two counties. Olympic Connect is what's called the barrier removal component. So, our role collectively in that work is to remove barriers so that people can get good paying jobs. So, this is part of how we embody and implement our economic development strategic framework that guides this work. And you might remember that was adopted by our board of directors and the advisory group back in April of this year. We're incorporating economic development measures to help us evaluate how successful this work is and to demonstrate our value add. And we also need to fulfill some of our funder requirements to the Economic Development Authority. And part of that is to capture the data on who is being served by Olympic Connect under that funding opportunity. So that's why this prime age employment group assessment was added, is this is one of the ways we're able to pull out those Olympic Connect clients that meet the criteria. That is the focus of this recompete grant. And the employment support program, all of the services that Yvonne mentioned, those are all funded through the recompete grant as a part of this barrier removal so that we can support people to get those good living wage jobs. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you want to put them in the chat, we probably won't get in depth about the recompete grant here today, but I wanted to just take a minute to ground us in the why and what's driving some of these new pieces and parts you're seeing.
Miranda? Alrighty, so you'll want to make sure that that assessment is completed on their profile. That's step number one. So I see that they have, I can see the identifier, so I know that they have, this client has that on their profile. Next, you're going to want to work with the client to create SMART goals around SMART employment goals. So it's really important that you have the goal section completed on this behalf. This is one of the things that we look at when we're reviewing the application. And so an example of a SMART goal for employment could be this client wants to obtain a CDL, which is a commercial driver's license. So they want to obtain a commercial driver's license by October 1st. ABC Trucking Company is hosting interviews on October 5th, and they want to be prepared for the interview. Like, that is something that's measurable, something that's clearly outlined. It's something that's coming from the client. It's something that's well thought out. We're in September, the interview's in October. That's plenty of time to do the training. You want to make sure that you're utilizing the goal section, because that is an indicator for us on our reviewing process. Next, you're going to want to ensure, again, all of this is on the application. All of this will be in C2C for you to see. So I'm going step by step, but you will have the ability to see this again. You're going to want to ensure a full and complete documentation in the client's profile. So there are some items that we really need and that we have to have in the demographic information when we're doing the review. So the first one includes the client's first and last name, their full legal name. We also want to have their social security number. And so for those of you who haven't used the identifier tab in C2C, you're going to want to select identifier. And when you select add identifier, it actually has an option right here for social security number. So you'll go to the check, or you'll go to the pencil box. You'll select identifier, and there's multiple things you can put in here. So you can put passport numbers, Medicare number, Medicaid number, lots of things. But for this, you'll need to make sure you capture their social. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. How many numbers are in social? I don't know. I can't count. We're just going to do that. And then for source, we're going to do Olympic Community of Health, and you'll go ahead and press save. So that's how identifier, social security. This is a component we'll be looking for. You'll also want to make sure that you have an address on file for them and their demographic. You'll need their date of birth in here. You'll also want some type of phone number for them. And then it'll be important under demographics to complete this employment status. So you'll need to have something selected in here. I do want to note that as part of our funder requirements, Olympic Connect will have to report clients' personal data to the US Census Bureau. So, and this is clearly outlined in the application. So I say that so that clients can make informed decisions on whether or not they want to access this resource. So you'll support the client to identify a short-term training program that meets the client's identified goals. So this will not be something that you do like you sit down and just do from start to finish. Like this is something that will be happening over time. So you're going to want to make sure their demographic information's up to date. You're going to want to make sure that goals are documented. You're going to it should be led from them, but you can help support them identify what training they want to take and really make sure it's coming from them. We'll want to note that Olympic Connect directly pays the cost to the training entity and will not pay the individual for training. Funds are limited and clients can expect to receive the tuition support one time. And we encourage clients to thoroughly identify and support the training program that best meets their employment goals. It is expected that the clients commit to fully participating and successfully completing the selected training program and that they are using the learning skills that they obtained to secure a job in Colum and Jefferson County. So we want to make sure that whatever job they're looking for or whatever skills they're trying to obtain, they're not obtaining them and then moving to Seattle or obtaining them moving into Tacoma. Like our sole focus for this funding source is for them to obtain jobs in Colum and Jefferson County and stay within the county to help build the economy out here.
Yvonne, there was a question in the chat. Would multiple trainings be considered, for example, driver's ed, so that they can get to a job and then the actual job training? To answer this question, on the Yvonne, would you mind? I'm not going to ask you to go a little out of order. Do you have the application handy?
This
that you
was
could
the
pull
next
up?
order, so you're good.
Okay. So Yvonne just talked through many of the application questions. So you'll see here the application's pretty short. The first page is all the information to introduce the program, so that's readily available. Um, and I believe there's 8 questions on this application. So we need to know the name of the training program, the organization or entity that provides that training program, and the contact information for them, the cost of that training program. So this is the actual tuition and fees. So for our mock goal of obtain my CDL, my commercial driver's license, so I can get a job with ABC Trucking, I'm imagining the training name would be CDL 123, offered by 123 Trucking, and the contact information for like who's managing that training program, the cost of attending that training program. We need to know if there's any other resources or programs that could pay for this instead, because we can't double dip with this funding source. We need to know the dates of the training program and note that we need at least 2 weeks of processing time, preferably more, to process the application and to make payment to the training program on their behalf. It's important to note we do not pay the Olympic Connect clients directly. We pay the vendor of the training program directly. This is where they'll briefly describe on question 7 how this is going to support them to meet their employment goals. And then question 8 gets at this question of if there's any other barriers or challenges to successfully complete this program on a case-by-case basis. We might be able to use some funds to support other costs associated with completing the program, like needing to get a driver's license so that you can get there, or bus tokens, etc. Materials, loss of income. Because we have a limited amount of these funds, we are going to take those on a case-by-case basis. So it will be really important when you support people applying to be really detailed here on what the specific barriers are and the anticipated costs associated with those so that we can make informed decisions. Deborah, I see your question about how long are they required to live or work in Clallam or Jefferson County before they're able to move out of the area. We can't force people to not move, so there is no requirement. The point is that this program is for people who live in this community who want to work in this community. So understanding that life happens and somebody might get a really cool opportunity elsewhere or might need to move unexpectedly, and that's fine, and we won't force people to pay us back any of these funds that are used. But if somebody's goal is to move to Olympia, this is not the training program, or this is not the resource to support them in those efforts. So no hard and fast requirements, but referring more
Okay.
to the intention.
All right.
Rachel's question about what if they're unable to find a job after the training? For example, they get their CDL and local companies either don't have jobs or don't hire them. But yeah, that will happen. And the hope and intention being that this is a really well thought out goal, and before actually submitting an application, this is something that somebody's carefully considered, has maybe done a little research to see if there are in fact good living wage jobs available here and have an idea of where they would like to go. But again, like we can't force people to get hired or employers to hire people. But the hope being that you would continue to work with that client to meet their goal, which is to get a good paying job. Question 5, do clients need to exhaust all other options for programs that could pay for a training before they qualify? Yes, Sarah. So this funding source is intended to pay for the things that nothing else can pay for. So that's why we specifically reference Career Connect Washington and WorkSource. If they have programs that are available to pay for something like this, those need to be tapped into first before the employment support program can support those costs. What if local training programs aren't available? So we give preference to training programs that are offered here locally, but if somebody does need to go to, say, Seattle to get the training, but the intention is to come back to get a job here in Clallam or Jefferson counties, that's fine. Do individuals need to talk to WorkSource or other potential funders before applying for this funding? I think they need to do their due diligence to research what funding opportunities are available. We will have some knowledge of other funding sources and can communicate that back to you as we know that information. But I think that question makes me think you're interpreting this a little more rigidly than it's intended. This is, at a glance and doing some basic research. Is there other ways to pay for this, or is this the right place to go? The hard and fast things would be like FAFSA, Pell Grants, CEUs that are not eligible for this funding source. Sonia, is there a time frame for the availability of this funding? The Recompete grant goes through 2029, and I would be incredibly surprised if we don't run out of funding before then. Funding is limited. We have $500,000 total in this pot of money, hence why we're prioritizing paying for the tuition and fees, and we'll consider other costs on a case-by-case basis. We want to make sure as many people as possible are able to tap into this opportunity. So I don't think that there's an issue with meeting a deadline. We are going to be looking for opportunities to sustain this program beyond the $500,000, but for now, that is the limited amount of funding available. What if the potential job could be remote, but they live in Clallam or Jefferson counties? Um, uh, I would say it's possible, Christina, that we would consider that, but the intention really is for jobs that are based in Clallam and Jefferson counties, because we want to build up the economy of both the people who live here and the businesses that are here locally. I think I answered all of the questions in the chat, and sorry, Yvonne, for taking you out of order.
Oh, I love it. You're my Vanna White. Appreciate it.
Can you just reiterate these last three bullets, Yvonne? I know you touched on them briefly before I jumped into questions.
Last page, three bullet. What are you referring to?
The attestations.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I was like, what are we talking about? Yeah, so the last portion of the application is we would need a signature from the client. So just to go over the bullet points, Olympic Connect makes reasonable efforts to process your application for assistance timely and successfully to pay for the program you select. However, there may be circumstances beyond our control, such as the entity being unable to accept our payments, maybe the class that they are looking to attend is full, things of that nature that prevent us for being able to pay for that training. As funds are limited, you can expect to receive tuition support one time, and we encourage you to thoughtfully identify and select the training program that best meets your employment goals. It's expected for you to commit fully and participating successfully, and we want them to complete the training successfully, like I mentioned. And then as part of the funder requirements, Olympic Connect will report your personal data to the U.S. Census Bureau. To receive short-term training funds, you must provide your full name, date of birth, social security number, address, and current employment status to your trusted helper, which is you all. So that is set on the application, so it's very clear for the clients. So when you're asking them for that information or explaining to them as you're goal setting how important it is to be really thoughtful, it's very clear on the application on why you'll be doing that. So when we're in C2C, we have a way to send the referral. And I'm so excited because this is the first time that we get to utilize the electronic referral feature where it goes bilateral. So like you'll send the referral and then we'll get it in C2C and then we'll give you a response in C2C and you'll see it. So I'm so excited. Yay! We get to see what it looks like in real life. We've been talking about it for a year and now I feel like I'm not a liar. It's really happening. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So you'll have your client pulled up. You'll make sure all of your data points are put in like we mentioned, and you'll go ahead and select new referral. And you'll go ahead and select search for resources. So under submitting organization, as y'all know, it should say Olympic Community of Health. And under organization, it's going to be under Olympic Community of Health as well. So when you select the search, you'll see just one option for now. And when you select the gray triangle to expand the details, everything that I've gone over today will be in here. So you'll have the opportunity to review that. So it'll talk about, in the description, it talks about what we talked about earlier, what this funding cannot do, what a living wage is. Under eligibility, it talks about the age requirements, where they need to live, what currently underemployed is. This is where you'll find the application to complete. So it's going to be saved in here. And then it talks about the application process. So it'll do a step-by-step similar to what I did today on what will need to happen in order to complete a successful referral. So you'll search for Olympic Community of Health. You'll have the submitting organization as Olympic Community of Health, and you're going to go ahead and select both options like you normally do to submit a referral. You'll select send. Under referral comments, you don't need to put anything here. you can just leave it blank. And it says, are you sure you want to send the selected referral? Only include personal identify information. You can just leave it blank and you'll go ahead and select yes. I'm gonna refresh and now you'll see that I have a referral for submitted for the client. So then what I'll want to do is make sure that the application is attached to their profile so that when an OCH staff member reviews the application, all of the information is in C2C. So you'll go to history, you'll go to attachments, and if you select add attachment, I have an application right here. You'll go ahead and select add attachment, and that's where you will store their application. When you select the referral, you'll see complete application process. Again, in the task summary right here, you'll see the steps like we've gone through this morning. I know that my demographic information is up to date. I know that I've got a goal. I know that I've added the application to the attachment. So I'm going to go ahead and push complete. So when you mark the referral task as complete application, you'll notice that it will update and it'll say application review. You'll see that it's assigned to an OCH team member. And so even though if you select it, you can see options, do not click them because it's not assigned to you. It's super important to review who this task is assigned to because it's bilateral. It's going to be moving. So an OCH team member will review the application. You'll want to pay attention to who it's tasked to. If it passes review, the task will, it'll say application under review. And then Miranda's going to go in and update it in just a little moment so you can see what the next phase looks like. Oh no. Sorry, that scared me. I thought my computer was going to go out. So it'll show application under review, and then in just a little bit, if the in this time OCH is looking for all of the documentation, we're making sure all the things are lined up and making sure it's appropriate. If it is appropriate, it'll say processing application. If something is missing, it'll say incomplete or decline, and the referral will close. So just want to note that piece. So you can see right here, application is being processed. That's how you know that it's passed its review. And so when we're done completing the process and like reaching out to the funder or reaching out to the training folks and all of that, this will close out and you'll get an email in C2C that says the referral you sent in Olympic Connect has been completed successfully and the client has been approved. So if the client's been approved, you'll get a message in C2C. If the client has not been approved, maybe it's been kicked back or it's been declined, you'll also get a message in C2C, but it'll come from an OCH team member explaining why. So I'm going to pause there. Stop sharing my screen. I thought it would be helpful to give y'all an opportunity to, oops, where's my chat? Give y'all an opportunity to review the application again and send y'all into a breakout session for just like 5 minutes or so you can like talk about what questions are coming up, what things don't, what doesn't feel clear, and what you're excited about with this. And so I'm going to go, went ahead and shared the application for you to review. If you all want to go ahead and take a moment to open that up. I'm also going to throw into the chat the questions I'm going to have y'all talk to each other about in the breakout session, but you'll have about 5 minutes to talk to each other, and then we'll come back as a larger group and kind of discuss what questions we've got. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and put you, Miranda, did you give me host access back?
No, but I will organize your breakouts for you.
Fabulous. Can you make them for like 5 minutes? Thanks, ma'am. So we're gonna go into a breakout group. There's 2 questions in the chat for you. What questions do you have that still feels unclear about the tuition for short-term training programs? And what feels most exciting to you about this new resource? So in your breakout room, you'll discuss this with your folks. And then when we come back as a larger group, we'll share what feels important to share with the larger group. Any questions about what we're doing in our breakout session? I'm seeing smiles. I'm seeing thumbs ups. I love it. All right, Miranda, I'll let you take over.
Okay, I'll send you out into your breakout rooms. You'll be there for 5 minutes. Sorry, Yvonne, it didn't give me a way to not send you.
It's okay. Can we pause that all?
Pause.
You can pause the recording at the top.
Um,
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm waiting for some more folks to return. Welcome back, everyone. So I'm curious to hear like what feels, and this can be off mic, so feel free to come off mic. But I'm curious to hear like what questions are bubbling up, like what feels important to share with the group. What are we excited about? What do we still not feel clear about?
There's a question in our group um, wondering what measures were taken to find uh, employers in the community that offer $26 an hour and benefits.
That speaks, Kelsey, to the other initiatives and pieces of the Recompete grant. So while we are the barrier removal, there are lots of other projects and programs that are geared towards building up businesses' capacities, increasing wages, and helping people with some of the other employment aspects. So the Clallam and Jefferson Economic Development Councils are partners in that project. And they're kind of spearheading the way in terms of industry building to make sure that there are, in fact, good living wage jobs available here to be connected to.
Thank you. That's something else we talked about too, that this feels like a piece of the puzzle. And once we learn more about all the pieces, that we feel like maybe it'll come together.
Anything else?
There
What
was
you're
a
feeling?
conversation we had in our breakout room. It was Faith and who else was there? Kelsey. That we would maybe like to reconvene this group of folks that are doing this new employment support program for our clients to connect and see what others are doing, because there's such power in collaboration and idea sharing, if that's possible. Just to see what other successes have been, if that makes sense.
I'm
Yeah.
taking notes, Sonia, just so you know, I'm not ignoring you. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, Sonia and group. We'll definitely think about other opportunities to bring you together. Some of the things already in mind through the end of this year and next year aimed to support you all is, like Yvonne mentioned, there will be additional training sessions like this as those other services under the Employment Support Program come online. And then we do have a set of funds under the same funding source available to build up your all's capacity to help people in getting good paying jobs. And that will be a big focus of our learning and convening work plan for 2026. So we'll be seeking trainers to bring in for you all so that you all can build up those skills to support people getting connected to good paying jobs. And then Yvonne will share more about a peer support hour that's coming your way as well. So a couple of different things in the works, and if those don't quite meet the need, happy to consider other ways to support you all.
Our group was talking about how there's these other funding opportunities for people in training, and we were talking about how we weren't really sure how we would answer that question, and if it would be possible, like, to have one of those partner spotlights with WorkSource to know what kind of funding there is for job training programs, just as an example.
That's super helpful to hear, Molly. I have a running list of folks to do the partner presentations, and so I think that's great to highlight, and I can reach out to them to get something on the books. I do know October is pretty busy, so we've got some folks in September, and the next group that I'm working with will probably be like November. I'm gonna let it take a break in December, so if we don't see it in November, it'll be something that's coming up in the upcoming year, just to give you context for timeline.
And then our group also was, whoa, I just lost my question. Hang on one second. It's coming back. I just would think from the client care perspective, it would be really helpful if when the OCH representative either approves or declines that application, if there's a decline, I feel like it's going to be really important to have very clear reasons that we can then take back to the client so that we're not just sitting with that client raging about, missing this opportunity.
Absolutely. You will always get communication from us if an application is declined, either for not being eligible or for being incomplete. I do think that you're also speaking to a need to not overpromise as we introduce this resource to clients, that this isn't a guarantee. Just because someone applies doesn't mean that they will get connected to it. But again, to highlight that piece that we have to pay the program directly. And if they are not willing to accept our third-party payments, or they're not responsive to us, or the class is full, or whatever, we really do make a good faith effort to connect with those programs. But because we're dealing with a third party, it is going to come up that there are going to be programs who are not willing to accept our payments, or who are just harder for us to collaborate and coordinate with.
So I think we'll take our last question from Sarah in the chat. So often I work with folks who struggle with handoffs, referrals to other organizations and programs that can pay for supports. If this funding reduces barrier struggles for that person to access support, would that qualify them for it, even if there are programs that could help them pay? You want to take a stab at that, Miranda?
I don't think I understand your question, Sarah.
Sorry, what I mean is sometimes when I refer a client to a program that could help them, could support them, they may struggle to actually follow through with that referral. It sounds like this is a little bit more of an in-house referral that might be easier for that client. Would that then qualify them, even if maybe they're qualified for WorkSource or something like that, but they just struggle with that connecting with that other one? Okay.
No. Unfortunately, if there is another eligible funding source, we cannot duplicate it because of the funder requirements.
Okay. Thank you.
So before we skate off into the sunset, I wanted to show you where this live recording and all of the materials will be kept in the learning management system. And I know that this is something that we're all still trying to navigate because it's new. So I thought a live demo would be helpful so that y'all can see it a couple of times. So I'm pretending like I'm Lauren right now, so I'm impersonating her. So many of you, when you sign into our learning management system, you'll see this dashboard. What you're going to want to do is find where it says Olympic Connect resources. There's a green tab right here. If you select go to courses, it'll take you to Blackboard. And this is where all things Olympic Connect will be stored. So you can find eligible expenses in here. You can find things about Connect to Coordinator, partner presentations, anything that we record, you can find in here. For this training specifically, you'll want to go to Connect to Coordinator, and you'll see this new folder that says Employment Support Program. So if you select this, you'll find, this is where you're going to find the recording after today. Obviously, I can't upload it because I'm still making it, but you will see it in here. You'll see the application in here. We also, the slide deck that I showed you today, it's only like 4 slides, but that will also be in there. And then as the other trainings come out around transportation and things of that nature, I will also store those in here. So it'll be really important if you're wanting to know how to review this information, that you'll want to navigate to Blackboard. So again, you'll want to find the tab that says Olympic Connect Resources 2025. If you end up in this section here, you're just going to want to look for courses. The main thing, no matter where you're at in Blackboard, you're just looking for courses and then the course name that you're searching for, which is Olympic Connect Resources 2025. I'll stop sharing my screen. And then I just want to share in the chat, there is a supplemental training that's coming up through Foundational Community Support. They have, oh, thanks, Miranda. It looks like you're going to throw it in there for me. So they have a training that's happening on September 18th. I believe it's free, but it's learning strategies for teaching clients how to present their qualifications at job interviews. So for some of you who are building your skills on how to talk about employment, processes with your clients, this might be a good starting point for you. And as we learn more about trainings like this, I'll send them your way between me, Lauren, and Jess, so that you can learn how to tap into the free trainings that are available. Foundational Community Support does a lot of housing and employment training, so this could be helpful. Oh yes, Molly, thanks for that segue. When can you apply? This goes live September 11th. So we wanted to share it with you all today, give you time. This should be in Blackboard as long as I don't have tech issues. It should be in there by the end of today. But we'll be offering, this will be uploaded in Blackboard. We'll send out a reminder on Tuesday about this training for folks who weren't able to attend live. And then it starts September 11th. Before we go, we've got 1 minute. I'm curious if you could, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you could do a little chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how hopeful are you about this program? I think it'd be nice to end on a nice little positive note. Oh, I see a dance party with the YMCA, so that makes me pretty excited. Ooh, 8s and 9s. I feel, you know what, Sarah? I feel like that's a solid number from you, so I'd take that 5. Cool. Nice. It feels like y'all are feeling pretty comfortable. Again, this is going to be a work in progress, so if you have questions, the connect at email is something you can reach out to. Otherwise, I really appreciate your time. I always love the questions that you bring. I love the energy that you always have. Super excited that we have something to provide to our clients, and I'm looking forward to rolling this out. I'll let y'all have some lunchtime. Maya, if you want to hang back, I can answer your question, but I'll see y'all on the flip side. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Miranda, do you want to pause the recording?